everybody. This is Dr. Christy Taylor, founder of Work Solutions LLC and Work Global News Magazine. I'm so excited today to feature one of our Changemakers and feature speakers at 4D Prescription for Success Summit, Dr. Zynul. He goes by Dr. Z. He is a physician turned entrepreneur dedicated to transforming health through fitness, nutrition, and mindset. And as a sports and exercise medicine specialist, he has helped individuals combat lifestyle diseases like obesity, diabetes, and hypertension. Now, Dr. Z is going to be talking to us about burnout as well as some of his other entrepreneurial endeavors. I'm going to turn it over to him to introduce himself, and then we'll jump right into today's interview. Hi, Dr. Z. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi. I'm Dr. Z, as you said. I'm hailing from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. So nice and sunshiny weather. I know you guys have a lot of snow up there, but we just have a lot of sun.
So, Dr. Z, do you want to add anything to that introduction, or you just want to jump right into the interview? We have a lot to talk about today.
Sure. I mean, what I could add is the last 4 years since I started transitioning into entrepreneurship, I was a hospital worker for a very long time, so very institutionalized. And I started transferring into the area of entrepreneurship, and I've learned so much, and I've expanded a lot more than just medicine now. So I'm going deeper into social media and use of AI and how I can actually and one of the things I went through was burnout and how you can use these tools to really reduce your burnouts and still run your business with high energy.
Man, I'm so excited. Now, you talked a little bit about the last 4 years prior to you making this transition from being a physician to an entrepreneur, and that journey really is truly inspiring. What was the biggest challenge that you faced when you made the switch?
Biggest challenge was actually burnout. I went from a profession which has the #1 rate of burnout of any profession in the world, and I myself was deeply burnt out. And when I transitioned into entrepreneurship, I decided, oh yeah, I'm going to try to run my own company, not realizing because I was already burnt out, I was just putting myself deeper in a hole. And that led to a lot of problems. The first company I tried to start failed. I ran a few attempts at it, and the reason it failed was I was this #1 problem. I didn't have the energy to really push and put as much time into that space. So I actually took a step back for a good solid 6 months, worked on myself, and then I was able to come back in, and that's led to so much growth and so much change in not just my business life, but my personal life. And even with dealing with my little girls, that has led to so much change. Just reducing the burnout and the stress in my life and learning how to manage it better has led me to a real transition of productivity.
I'm so excited to hear that. I remember when I first started my company back in 2016, somewhere around that time, I had an article go viral because we really focused on burnout in physicians. Most people don't know this because they get used to me talking about I'm a career coach, but my PhD is actually in health science and health education, global health. And so I focused a lot on the same thing that you're championing now in my early days of my business, which was, burnout prevention for healthcare providers. But you are doing this for entrepreneurs and how you're supporting people. I want to jump into some of the work that you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit more about the White Rose community and how it's really impacting women navigating menopause? Because, I mean, you are just everywhere. I just want to touch base here. You developed a passion for women's health that inspired you to found the White Rose community with a nurse Maria to support menopause care. This had to be something that you were seeing in your practice day to day that made you want to step out. So you're not only doing entrepreneurship, you're still doing work that's also impactful in supporting women. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I'm still connected with my hospital, and I still work there as my day job. But Nurse Maria was actually, I was running a weight loss program targeted at our staff members in Trinidad, because I realized our staff was being a little unserved and needed to really put out programs that focused entirely on what their work structure and so on was like. So Maria was one of my clients, and over 6 months, she was able to lose 43 pounds in weight while overcoming her menopause journey, right? She was having severe symptoms and to the point that she was fainting on the wards. She was not happy where she was. And when after working with me, with dealing with a mindset change, losing the weight, getting more into her energy levels, exercising more, she was quite impressed. And she was the one who came to me and she says, "Look, I'm a sexual health nurse for women. I work with women's health all the time, and I have all these women who come into my department. Yeah, they come for their pap smears, but we sit and talk, and they start expressing to me they're overwhelmed with dealing with menopause." And she was like, some of them would just go and break into tears because they have no support. They don't know who to talk to. When they reach out to their doctors or their fellow other medical health staff, they don't know how to explain to them what they're going through. So Maria's like, you did really good work with me. I liked how the exercise and mindset change helped me with my menopause journey. Can we team up? And do something for these menopausal women? I was like, hey, that's a great idea. Why it was a great idea for me was because the majority of patients I was seeing in the clinic were women. I had like 10% of the guys were showing up for the clinic, but all of my patients was primarily women. And here's the thing, I grew up with women all my life. I have 4 sisters. I have 13 aunts. I have so many women in my life. Yeah, I'm overwhelmed. And in my own home, there's 3 women. There's 2 daughters and my wife. So I'm like, I've been around and working with women for a very long time. So it was a nice transition to work with this stage in life. This beautiful transition for women, by the way. It's a change from the reproductive years to the non-reproductive years, where women go from being the mother to the matriarch of society, something that existed for thousands of years in other societies, but we don't see much of it today. So that led to us launching the White Rose community, where we help women navigate menopause. We're doing live YouTube sessions every week. Maria is our major speaker. I just help her to produce it. And we're driving to help more women navigate and understand their menopause journey, which can last, I didn't know this, up to 10 years and can start as early as their 30s. So when they're thinking these mood swings or these hot flashes or these cold sweats they're getting is related to their periods, it actually might be menopausal symptoms, right? And educating women on this was really important. And that's how come I ended up in that space, because I do health and wellness. Maria does women's sexual health, and we combine our superpowers to create the White Rose community.
So I just want to make sure that that viewers really get the point of what your experience is. You are a clinical doctor. You're working full-time as a physician. You're doing this community type impact work through the White Rose community where you're supporting women, and then you venture off into entrepreneurship. Guys, it is not uncommon. And on top of all of that, for us as service providers, healthcare professionals, any of us who are working in like social impact work, to be burnt out, because the work that he is doing is heart-centered work. So of course, when he has an opportunity to support other people, to address health concerns and conditions, he's going to do that. But now I got to bring it all back to, all right, so you're doing all this work, you're helping all these people. You're talking about how burnout led you to making a pivotal change in your life, because it's kind of crazy, right? When we're working in this health and wellness space, right, and we're such givers, we often find ourselves giving so much that we burn out. So my question to you is, as you've gone on through your entrepreneurial journey and your experiences, let's talk a little bit about how you continue to serve. And although you reached a point where burnout actually led you to make a pivotal change in your life, how did that experience really reshape the way that you approach work, family, and personal time? Because you're doing all of these great things.
It has changed everything in my life. Now my focus is primarily on my health. My health is number one. And I thought I was a pretty healthy person before starting this journey 4 years ago. But only to realize that I wasn't as far along as I did, because I've been exercising all my life. I eat a fairly healthy diet most of my life. What was a real wake-up call for me was when my daughter when the pandemic hit. My daughter was, of course, they're home all the time. They're not in school. They want to go play in the yard. And I realized I would go running with them, and I'd get winded. After 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't run anymore. And here I'm thinking I'm pretty fit, right? And I go, something is wrong here. And that led me to transition into looking at my personal life. And I always tell people, taking care of you allows you to take care of everybody else. And unfortunately, a lot of our medical professions think they need to give all of themselves to their patients and their profession, not realizing that if they step back and just take a little bit of time for themselves, they become more productive and are able to give a much higher level of patient care and into their vocation. So I started working on me, and that included a lot of changes. One of the things I started doing was yoga every morning. I started meditating. I started journaling. And honestly, all these things might sound like easy things to implement, but it took me 4 years to reach a practice where I can do this every day and still start my day on a positive note. And I had to do it slowly. I stacked one health technique onto another. So let's say I have to brush my teeth in the morning, 5 minutes of yoga, right? So I brush my teeth, 5 minutes of yoga. Then breakfast. Come after breakfast. These are things you have to do anyway. Then sit and journal for a little bit. Create my timesheet for the day. All these things were coming together slowly and slowly. And I realized today I'm way more productive. And I wish I'd known this 20 years ago. I'm way more productive than I have ever been in my life. To the point that last year alone, I wrote 4 proposals to our hospital, and had 3 of them adopted by our healthcare system. And I would have never been able to do that before. And it even showed a difference because I was doing my master's degree in public health just after the pandemic started. And even that improved my quality of papers that I was writing, improved. I went from barely a 50% average and struggling to pass to scoring above 70, above 60%. Um, by just changing my internal habits, looking at the way I use my energy, looking at the way I use my productivity, and not forcing everything to happen. So I know if I'm not concentrating that well, step away, do something else. Your concentration will come back. And one of the things I learned to do was how to prime your brain and your body to get prepared for a high intensity activity. Athletes do this all the time. They prime all the time. They're running for an Olympic event. They're priming way before that event. So by the time they hit that event, their energy levels are so high. Their mental concentration is so focused that they get into what the athletes call the zone. That's when you're in that state of flow. But all of these things takes practice and it takes consistent effort. And I don't mean you have to do it 100% of the time. Use the same 80-20 the rule they use in business and all other marketing. 80% of the time you're doing it, that 20% you can take a break, right? And you'll see that 20% leads, as break you're taking, leads to 80% of your productivity. That's where it all comes from. So that has led me to not only start a White Rose community, but that led me to start using AI as a tool, and a very good tool because it's managed to help me produce even more. And in doing that and helping to build White Rose community, I started learning social media. And combining those tools, that led me this year to launching my now new business, which I love doing because it gets me to be creative, the Tamarind Tree Media, where I help. Yes, sorry. Yes.
So
I was
look,
going to
look, I'm
fire
so
away.
excited for just to listen to you because so much of what you're going to be talking about is, what we're going to be talking about at the Prescription for Success conference. But I want to transition us into some of the stuff that you just touched on. Look, so many times when we get ready to launch a business, we feel like you've talked about your journey up until now. You're still working, you're still doing all this stuff in the community. But you mentioned earlier about and I've done this too. Launching a business, trying to do it all yourself, that's part of the learning curve of business, right? And then you started using tools to help you, because let's transition this discussion into how you were able to do that, because most people don't see how automating processes, using this process to run their business is going to help them prevent burnout. So I'm going to start just by asking you, just first of all, you mentioned that you've incorporated AI and productivity tools to streamline your processes. How has that really impacted the balance of your business growth and your personal life? So we can start there.
So, all right. So when it comes to AI, I mean, I start off always with ChatGPT or one of the the large language models, right?
Mhm.
If you're stuck, and I gotta go with this, if you're stuck and you can't come up with ideas, right, and you're just having this writer's block, this creative block, right, and you just and everybody, I mean, we all go through it. When you sit down, you know you want to do something, you just don't know what it is,
Mhm.
right? You start off at one point, go on the AI and the idea you have in your head, just type it in and see what comes out. Remember, these things are tapped into all the information in the world, right, at their fingertips, faster than you could find it. So it's like having, I don't know, 1,500 research assistants just running at 100 miles per hour, right? And this thing comes back with a whole bunch of ideas. And what I found is that when you do that, you realize it comes up with 10 or 15 ideas. And when you read through it, it starts to trigger um, your brain to start working and start looking at you get inspiration from it, right? And once you get that inspiration, you just got to tap into that and keep moving, right? So that's one of the tools I start with. ChatGPT, now they have DeepSeek. I mean, whichever one you want to use. Everybody's getting on about the data being mined by everybody else. Doesn't matter, right? You're just asking it questions, right? So now you ask a question. Now you can start writing, and then you can get it to write for you. So I treat AI as an incompetent assistant, right? I know it's going to make mistakes. I know it's going to mess up. I know it's not going to give me the right information. So my role here is it gives me back the information I need in a timely fashion. Now I can review it, and instead of spending 3 weeks, like the proposals I wrote, it will take me, each one of them will take me 3 weeks to write. Using AI, I was able to write them in less than a day,
Yep.
right? And because of my expertise, I can now go through it and say, okay, this is nonsense. This doesn't make sense. I can remove those things and then prompt the AI to give me much deeper data and information on that space. But I gotta tell you, this is something you gotta practice. You just can't start off one day and expect that you're gonna be spectacular like everything else. If I've been doing since OpenAI came launched and it became very visual, I've been using them. I was one of the early adopters
Me too.
and using that, yeah. And that's 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So you imagine now, and then that led me to learn how to create super prompts, right? And that's how AI has helped at that level of productivity. That led to me asking ChatGPT, how can other AIs help me? Right? And it started suggesting things of what is already existent. And I can tell you, there's thousands of AIs out there. People who use AI said they're so overwhelmed by the amount of AIs, they stopped using most of them. So somebody was asking me the other day, why don't you use DeepSeek? I was like, because I know ChatGPT, have to go learn DeepSeek and what I can prompt DeepSeek to do. And that'll take time. So I'll just stick to ChatGPT. So pick your AI, use it every day, and that'll increase your productivity and find something that connects to you. And there's tons of them. Every industry has an AI.
Now, look, I just want you to make sure that uh, if you are running a business and all of these things that Dr. Z is sharing are tested and true, right? Because it really helps you to automate your process. And so I'm just going to throw a question in here. How have you found that the use of like these automated processes using tools like AI, because you talked about having to stop and restart your business, how has it really helped you as an entrepreneur with burnout?
Okay, so let's say, okay, you're going to spend hours thinking about something. Um, AI is a productivity tool, right? And it increases your productivity. But then burnout is a very personal thing, right? And a burnout, if most people don't recognize it, it involves three factors. It has a psychological, a physical, and an emotional side. Now, AI can't help you with the emotional, or there are AIs can help you navigate the emotions, right? They can't help you with the physical. Yes, you can get a smartwatch and it will tell you to go for a run. It'll tell you to go for a walk. Somebody will tell you, okay, you've been sitting here for too long, stretch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the psychological, of course, there's obviously AIs for that. But it comes down to your own personal addressing of your burnout, right? And yes, you can increase your productivity, but if you're burnt out already and you're trying to use AI to change your business and make it more productive, you're just making yourself more burnt out. So it's for you to take, it's a really personal thing. It's for you to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to go and stand in nature. I need to go for a walk. I need to go have a meal. I need to go talk to a little child because they're fun to talk to. They show you and they talk about anything. And you realize that's where you start balancing. So it's really about creating that balance. So yes, AI can increase your productivity. Can it fix your burnout? No. You have to fix your burnout. And you have to start by realizing that I do have to take a break. I do have to step back. And I know for high end, when you're in this space of entrepreneurship, you just want to keep going and going and going and going. It's okay to take a day off. I do it every week. Every Sunday, I go with my children to the beach. Right? Entire day, no technology, everything. We're just on the beach. They're in the water. I'm swimming with them. We're having a great day. So that Monday, I could start back with high energy. Do I lose anything in that Sunday? No, because I'm still doing 60 plus hours of work a week, right? And I'm taking care of myself, and I incorporate all these things into my day,
Mhm.
right? And yes, sorry, go ahead.
No, you just love what you do. You're motivated, and so I have two more questions that I want to ask you before we wrap this up. So you talked about the use of AI. I just want you to kind of touch on. You touched on how this has impacted your business and burnout. How are you using it in the terms of content creation? How have you leveraged it there? Because I know that you've incorporated it a lot, and it's like if as a business owner, right, it can really be hard to continuously create content and stuff, information to share with your audience. And so I just want you to give us an example of like you've already told us about burnout. How have you actually used it for content creation for your audience?
So like okay, so I'll start with today. Because today I just created 2 videos and I'm gonna do after this interview another 8. All them 5-minute videos. That's content creation. So I needed to do videos um, for my new business, Tamron Tree Media, and to introduce people to what it is and how you can improve your social media content presence. So how do you do that? I go into AI and I go suggest 10 things that somebody wants to know or entrepreneur wants to know about being visible on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And now it gives me 10 subjects, right? With that, I then say on each of these subjects, write a script, write the outline for a script for a 5-minute video on this. Now it gives me a 5-minute script. Then I go write the script. And I tell it, I don't want it to put any visuals in it. I don't want it to put any breakaway sessions. I say, leave out the breakaways and the B rules and just be pure script. It gives me that script. Now all I have to do is sit for 5 minutes in front of my camera, take that video, read the script. I go through it and make sure everything is okay. And I'm done. 5 minutes, I'm done. Then I take that script and I will dump it in an AI called Opus Clip. Opus Clip breaks your videos down into 30-second to 1.5-minute segments, right? And it creates the thumbnail and the title for you. So you don't have to work your head over doing that. If you don't know how to create a thumbnail title, again, on ChatGPT, create 10 titles for this idea. And it comes up with 10 titles for you. Say, put in a power word. It goes in, puts in a power word. All of that is happening, and this is taking all of 10 minutes. So today, before coming in this interview, while I was waiting in the waiting room, I created 5 scripts, right? And that was just 15 minutes of me just sitting there going, okay, let me just type this out. And I dumped it in ChatGPT. Now I have 5 scripts I can go work with, right? And as you came on camera, I just hit enter in the last script, and it's already written. It was writing in the background, and I was just like, okay, good. So when I leave this interview, now I'm going to go take a break, chill with my daughter for a bit, and then come and do the videos. How much of my day did that take up? Half an hour?
Yeah, it really does speed up the process for you. So we're getting ready to wrap this interview up, but I cannot leave without letting you definitely share what a little bit on the topic you are going to be talking about for the Prescription for Success conference summit that we're having, right? They're about 30 seconds. I know you're going to be focused on burnout. And then what is one piece piece of advice that you want to give people about their entrepreneurship journey based on your experience?
Take breaks. Seriously, this is like, I only started really putting this seriously into my business, where I use the Pomodoro principle, where you do 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. That 5-minute break is really long, right? But it is so important to take breaks, because your brain can't be on the same gear all the time. It's gonna get burnt out. So you need to take a break, step away, grab something to eat, grab something to drink, do something different. So when you come back, you're way more productive than you were before. And because you're already focused in that space, your productivity keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But one thing I would love for people to do is seriously consider taking breaks. I had a psychologist say this once. He says they used to be, in the past, they had smoking breaks where people used to go outside and take a smoke. Now, not a very good health habit, right? But the concept of that break was nobody got angry at somebody going out for a smoke. Have you ever noticed that? Nobody got annoyed. Why are you leaving the office so often? No. They would go outside, and what were they doing? They were taking a break from their work life. They were going into the outside area. And yes, they were doing an unhealthy habits, right? But they were taking breaks. So take breaks.
And then for your topic for the Prescription for Success conference, you really you focus on burnout prevention, and I would just love to see a little bit of that discussion of how you're leveraging AI. This has been such a wonderful interview, Dr. Z. Where can people find you? If I wanted to just get in touch with you today, listen to this interview, where can people find you?
On LinkedIn, I'm there every day now. I keep posting to LinkedIn, but you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. It's Zynul D Khan everywhere. My name is very unique, so it's ZYNUL. Once you type it in, you'll see only a few of us pop up in the world.
Hey, thank you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes,
so we're gonna make sure though that we drop all of your information, all of your links and descriptors within the description box. We're gonna be sharing it on social media. Your coupon code for the event, we're gonna make sure that we attach that to this post as well. And we're just so excited to have you be a part of that event, and looking forward to future collaborations as we continue to roll out and get ready for the Prescription for Career Success Summit. You got a lot of great stuff. You said you're getting ready to launch a new company. What is the name of that company that you're getting ready to launch?
It's launched already. It's been a month. It's a month old now. It's called Tamarind Tree Media, and I help people build their visibility and brand awareness on social media. I help you create all your content. I post everything for you, schedule that you're getting more than 200 posts a month on multiple platforms. And that's where my energy goes all the time now.
We're excited to have you. Looking forward to you being part of the conference. Thank you so much, Dr. Z. And thank you guys for tuning in.
And thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
You.